This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight. A 9-year-old girl has a difficult recovery ahead after a vicious dog attack. It happened last week in Norway House, Cree Nation. The girl suffered horrific injuries in that attack, and a warning, some of the details that you will hear in this story are graphic. CBC's Josh Crabb has more on her recovery and how community leaders are trying to get the dog population under control.
9-year-old Heavenly Monius is in Winnipeg's Children's Hospital. She suffered dog bites to her cheek, chest, and arm. She's bruised, scratched, and scared.
They ripped off her whole cheek.
Her mom, Lorenda Scribe, says Heavenly got separated from her older sister and younger brother. The 9-year-old was walking with her own dog when she was mauled on the evening of August 15th near her home in Norway House, Cree Nation. No one knows for certain how many dogs were involved.
When I got into the EMS, they showed me her bite mark, and it was really, really bad.
The RCMP says Mounties and First Nation safety officers saw a pack of dogs that ran away. So far, neither RCMP or the First Nation has been able to identify the dog or dogs responsible.
Thank God there was a guy there walking by and heard my granddaughter yelling.
Heavenly's grandma, Lorraine Trout, says a community member intervened. Her granddaughter had to be medevaced to Winnipeg, where she had surgery, got stitches, and needs tetanus shots.
Surprised me that she never once cried for her pain, even when we got here, even after surgery, she didn't even cry. Instead, I was crying.
Norway House Cree Nation councillor Dion Clark says he's shocked. He acknowledges there have been other bites and attacks and says the community has been working on an animal control bylaw.
And unfortunately, the timing wasn't quick enough where we weren't able to implement it right away. So that still has to go through a process. But in the meantime, we've started working with people in the community to help capture the dogs.
He says the dogs will be taken by rescue groups. Clark says new rules may require pet owners to register their animals and keep them on leashes or face fines. Heavenly's family isn't sure if the new animal control rules will be enough. Her mom says her daughter doesn't want to lose her smile.
We all talked to her. We told her, you're going to be beautiful no matter what, with or without a scar.
Heavenly's mom and grandma say the little girl is nervous to go back home. They say they might keep her in Winnipeg to help her recover from the emotional trauma of the attack. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Some healthcare support workers in Manitoba started voting today on a new tentative agreement. Leaders with CUPE are recommending healthcare aides and home care attendants ratify the new agreement, but a petition opposing the contract has been signed by hundreds of people. They say the new deal doesn't do enough to increase some of the lowest wages in healthcare. Debbie Boissonneau is the former president of CUPE Local 204. She is also voting against that deal.
I'm getting a lot of calls. A lot of members are upset that they didn't see some of the incentives that were offered to the nurses, and they are recommending their friends vote no. I'm hearing a lot of no's. I'm not hearing a lot of yeses.
The union says the deal is the best financial package they have been able to secure in many years. Voting on that agreement wraps up on Thursday. Meantime, time is running out to avoid a shutdown of Canada's national railways. 9,300 rail workers could walk off the job or be locked out by CN or CP Kansas City on Thursday. Both the union and the company accuse each other of bad faith bargaining. Labour Minister Stephen McKinnon is expected to meet with all sides once again tomorrow to urge them to come to an agreement. Hundreds of people remain out of their homes in a downtown Winnipeg high-rise. This after a significant flood inside the 25-story apartment building at 170 Hargrave Street yesterday. Michaela De Los Santos has the story.
If you know a phone number, I could phone somebody and reassure them that you're okay.
Ramona Hope's checking in on her 90-year-old neighbor. They live at 170 Hargrave Street until flooding forced them out. Police and fire crews were called to the apartment Monday.
And my hallway was raining. It was raining water in the hallway.
Hope and her friend had to go to a hotel across the street.
She actually literally has nobody here. So I helped her a couple of times in the afternoon to use the ladies' room, and then made sure she ate some pizza so she could take her medications.
The city says 230 people had to be moved out. The city of Winnipeg is helping about 24 people with places to stay. The other residents stayed with family or paid for hotels out of pocket. Deanna Petit lives in the apartment and is looking for answers.
There's a whole bunch of them, tenants sitting in there, and they, well, what can you tell us? What can you tell us? They can't tell us anything, and I feel sorry for them, but, hey, they have a place to go. I'm homeless. I have no address.
The city says the water came from a dislodged fire suppression pipe, but wasn't caused by fire. Now, police are investigating. Jason Shaw is a deputy chief of Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service.
Once the flooding started, it affected the critical infrastructure systems in the building, including fire suppression systems, electrical alarm systems, elevators, and hydroelectricity.
CBC reached out to the property management company but has not heard back. The tenants haven't been told when they can go back home. Michaela De Los Santos, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Abhi Khan has made it official. The MLA for Fort White and former Winnipeg Blue Bomber is running for leader of Manitoba's Progressive Conservative Party. Khan made the announcement today on a new website. He is the first candidate to declare a run for leader. The deadline for PC leadership candidates is October 15th.
And so many Manitobans have come forward to me asking me to do this. And to have that honor, I'm so humbled by that.
The party will choose its new leader on April 26th of next year. Newly appointed Senator Charles Adler says he has reached out to the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs requesting a face-to-face meeting. The AMC called for his appointment to be rescinded yesterday. The group says comments he made about Indigenous communities 25 years ago were grossly offensive. In a statement today, Adler says he looked forward to hearing from the Grand Chief. Well, from postcards and pictures to heartfelt letters and test kits, maybe not the way you remember the COVID-19 pandemic, but St. Boniface Hospital has sealed mementos like that in a wooden box to be opened 25 years from now. The time capsule pays tribute to the efforts of healthcare staff over the past 3 years.
It really warmed my heart, what our staff went through in those first couple of years, nothing short of, I mean, they sacrificed family time, their own health to come and take care of the community, take care of our patients. They did so with grace. They put in a lot of extra hours. So really I'm so grateful to every single person that is our frontline team. And so I hope that, when it's opened in 2050, that people sense that gratitude and have that appreciation for what we went through.
On that note, let's have a first look at our weather forecast. A little bit of everything summer-wise here in Manitoba today, but I want to take you back to last night first and a picture of the blue moon. You'll recall I was talking about this at the end of the show last night. The big, bright, full moon. Luba took this picture at Ingolf, Ontario. That is just across the Manitoba-Ontario border, just across the border from the Whiteshell. So thank you for sending this photo in. Very nice. You can always send me your neck of the woods to talkback@cbc.ca. A few things to talk about tonight. First off, that purple area in northern Manitoba, in the God's Lake area, as well as through Lynn Lake and north under an air quality advisory. Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in the western side of the province as well. We have a watch in place from Swan River right down to the Melita area. That's because we've seen some pretty volatile thunderstorm activity moving through the Parkland region. In particular, Roblin Russell under a warning a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Grandview, Gilbert Plains, Dauphin into the Lake Winnipeg-Osis area getting some pretty heavy rain and some lightning throughout the afternoon hours as well. We did see a couple of brief sprinkles here in Winnipeg this afternoon and a little bit of scattered shower and thunderstorm activity into the southeastern corner of the province as well. Expect some of that to continue as we get into the overnight period tonight. By the time we start tomorrow, though, we're back to a mix of sun and clouds. We're looking at another hot and humid one across much of Manitoba for the day on Wednesday. But along that trough line that is moving through Saskatchewan into central Manitoba, expect the risk, especially through the late afternoon Wednesday into Thursday once again, that we could see some showers, maybe some thunderstorms once again. Here in Winnipeg, I'm calling it a good chance I could see some scattered showers, particularly overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Mainly cloudy skies on the way for Thursday as that area of low pressure continues to move north. And then we're back into the sunshine by the time we get Friday and into the weekend. Winds will be a bit bit gusty as we get through Wednesday as well. We're looking at winds 20 gusting 40, maybe even up to 50 to start the day tomorrow. Winds generally out of the south up to 40 throughout the Red River Valley and into parts of central Manitoba as we head through the rest of your Wednesday. 27 degrees are high in Winnipeg tomorrow, as well as in Brandon. That risk of thunderstorms to the Swan River area once again tomorrow. The Paw looking at a high of 28 and 29 in Thompson, your forecast high. A good chance we could see those showers. A bit cooler on Thursday, 25 degrees, and then we're back into the hot and humid weather to start the weekend, 30 degrees on Saturday. Well, there are many people who like to grow their own fruits and vegetables in the summertime, but have you ever considered growing your own mushrooms at home? Well, the West Broadway Farmers Market is hosting a workshop tomorrow where you can learn how to do that. CBC Manitoba community reporter Shania Twain stopped by River City Mushrooms to find out how it's done.
Before people get this grow kit, there's a lot of things that have happened to this to get it to this stage.
Exactly. So what we have here is an example of the grow kits that I'm going to be demonstrating for everyone at the farmers market on Wednesday. This is a 1-gallon pail with holes drilled in the side of the pail, and this is exactly where the oyster mushrooms are going to grow out of.
How do the mushrooms grow out of such a small space?
Yeah, so in the wild, as you might be able to fathom, mushrooms will essentially find the weakest point in the trunk of a tree or a stump or a branch or something, and they exert enough force that they can actually tear open the bark of trees. On the inside, we have we're going to be layering hydrated hardwood sawdust with layers of spawn, which is essentially the mycelium of the fungus. I will draw some of this, just like someone would take from a sourdough culture, and transfer some of that to make a new loaf of bread. And so this is self-perpetuating. Here I have various different species and strains of mushrooms in a variety of different levels of maturation.
This looks a lot chunkier than the other ones.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so essentially what's happening there is the block itself is shrinking because they're using energy to produce the mushrooms. The lion's mane, for example, this one right here is mature and ready to be used. It will never get as white and as dense as the oyster mushroom mycelium. That's just the nature of how it behaves and how it grows. Yes. I mean, the base of the mushroom is actually quite sturdy, but all of these individual little pieces, these are quite delicate. This is an example of a Filipino mushroom.
That one looks way more sturdy than the lion's mane.
Yes. Yeah, so Filipinos, like I was saying, this is a variety that grows wild in southern Italy and the Mediterranean basin. For folks that want to grow mushrooms inside, any room that has a window that has diffuse indirect light coming in, as long as it's natural light, will be more than enough for mushrooms to grow. You cannot grow them in the dark.
We have much more ahead tonight, including more on the Israeli military, which says it has retrieved the bodies of 6 hostages from Gaza. It comes amid increased urgency for negotiations aimed at securing a ceasefire in the region. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Well, turning to the latest on the Israel-Hamas war now, the Israeli military said today that it has retrieved the bodies of 6 hostages from Gaza. With talks set to resume this week, the discovery of the bodies brings increased urgency to reach a ceasefire deal. CBC's Sasha Petrusik is in Jerusalem with the latest.
Overnight, the Israeli military found 6 bodies of Israeli hostages in tunnels under the city of Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza. Now, these 6 men were kidnapped on October 7th from 2 kibbutzes near the border with Gaza and carried alive into Gaza, and sometime after that they died. Now, it's not clear exactly when that happened or under what circumstances. There's been a suggestion here in the local media that they were abandoned in these tunnels by their captors, perhaps during an airstrike, but that part is not clear. What is clear is that there is a lot more pressure on the Netanyahu government to come up with some sort of a deal that would release the remaining hostages, even though many of those may also not be alive anymore. There's also a lot of anger among the families of those who were found dead today.
We're caught between a rock and a hard place. You know, the Hamas and the Israeli government both contributing their part to the death of my uncle.
Of course, the fighting is continuing throughout Gaza, and we're hearing of an airstrike against a school in central Gaza, which was sheltering civilians. Israel says it was actually after Hamas fighters who were using these civilians as human shields in the school. Hamas has denied that it actually uses human shields. What we're hearing from the Gazan health authorities is that at least 10 people died there. While all this fighting is going on, there are talks continuing to try to end it. In Cairo today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken was sent from Washington to try to continue with a plan that the Americans are proposing to bridge some of the differences between Hamas and the Israeli government. We're not sure exactly what is in that proposal. It has not been released. The Americans are saying that everyone is very close. These talks are expected to continue in Cairo later this week. Hamas has said that it will not be attending, though there will be communication between them and the other mediators from Egypt and from Qatar. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Jerusalem.
The Quebec government is putting a freeze on new temporary foreign workers who hold low-wage jobs in the Montreal area. Premier François Legault says the 6-month freeze will apply to new applications and renewals, but will exempt nurses, teachers, construction workers, food production employees, and those making at least $57,000 a year. Legault says the total number of temporary immigrants across Quebec doubled to 600,000 in 2 years, putting a strain on housing. The Canada Border Services Agency experienced a partial systems outage today. It led to problems with customs processing at the country's airports. That outage affected self-serve kiosks at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Customs processing was also slower than usual at the Montreal Airport. Late this afternoon, the CBSA said the problem had been resolved, but the agency has not said what caused the outage. Well, here is a look at the fountain in Assiniboine Park on what was another hot and humid day here in the Red River Valley. I'll have a look at your 7-day forecast coming up after the break.
Hello, my name is Shania Gutierrez, and I'm an interdisciplinary artist from Winnipeg. My heritage is Filipino, and my work centers in my Filipino heritage, diaspora, as well as girlhood and selfhood. I'm here because I am currently an emerging artist, and I want to feature some of my works that I showed last year at Cultivation Festival's Katauhan. Yeah, the piece that I featured is called Labada. Labada means laundry or laundromat, and I depict myself as a manananggal, or a mythical ghoul in Filipino mythical creature. And the manananggal is meant to be a lady by day and a scary people eating ghoul by night. In my take on it, it's me being a mythical creature in this very mundane setting, where I'm depicted as just being as human as possible in the most inhuman way. We created Skyflake on a whim. When we did our first meeting for Katauhan, we all had the idea to create this massive piece that will bring us together. And the main thing that brought us together was the Skyflake cracker. I feel like everyone in their household has a Skyflake cracker somewhere in their pantry. And so we just wanted to bring it in and make it life-size and make it something that people can celebrate about. For my family, Manitoba came as an opportunity to start a new life. I wasn't really fully aware of what that meant yet as a kid, but now Manitoba is someplace I would call my home. I feel that the Cultivation Festival is a celebration of individuality as well as our similarities as Filipino immigrants or part of the Filipino diaspora here in Winnipeg. It's really uplifting to see Filipinos from everywhere in the city celebrate their talents as well as the work they do as we work through our lives here in Canada.
Here's a look at your dog walking forecast now for Wednesday. We're looking at another hot and humid one. Thank you, Danielle and Josh, for sending this picture of Loki in. You can send your pics to talkback@cbc.ca. Up to 27 degrees in the afternoon in Winnipeg. Watch those south winds gusting to 40. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow and 25 by the time we get to the evening. We're looking at a 25-degree high for Thursday. South winds gusting to 40 with a good chance we'll see some scattered showers moving through the region. 28 for Friday. Then we're back to temperatures of 30 degrees or close to for the weekend. Hot and humid with some cloud building in on Saturday. Then our next best chance for showers comes on Monday, maybe a thunderstorm, and we're looking at a 26-degree high for Tuesday. Imagine the moment you reunite with a friend that you haven't seen in 40 years. But what if that friend was also Shania Twain? I'm jealous of our Daily Lift tonight. So this is the moment that Shania Twain reunited with an old friend on stage in St. John's over the weekend. She told the story of meeting Gloria Power while she was touring the province more than 40 years ago.
So Gloria invited me over. I stayed at her house. She treated me like one of the family. She took me around a little bit. She took me to one of the beaches. She said, do you want to go to the beach? I said, yeah, I've never been in the sea before. And it's August, and I'm thinking, well, it's got to be warm, you know. And I was so excited. It was so friggin' cold.
Twain told Power on stage that she still has a Polaroid photo of them together. That Polaroid was taken more than 4 decades ago now. For those who don't know, I am a huge Shania Twain fan, so I love that story. That is our show for this Tuesday. Thanks for being with me. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.